Yay! Hi, Patricia.
Hi,
We did it.
Alicia. This is
I
Pat
know.
from, and I am the host of Crown Different. You are very well known from creating to how to create a platform and creating a legacy project.
Mhm.
Could you help viewers, especially us older women who maybe not understand what a platform is?
Mhm.
How is it that we can create a platform? What is a platform? How to create it to a legacy project? And do you have it like something that we could take it like from step one to step two to launching it to a platform and then merging it into a legacy project? That's a
Yeah.
mouthful.
Well, I first, Patricia, thank you so much for welcoming me here. And I know when we first connected, you were like, I work with older women. And I was like, I work with older women. We're going to get along great. Because it is interesting, Patricia, when people first start in pageantry, they sometimes will enter as a child or as a teen or as a
Mhm.
miss, but there's lots of women that don't even know about the pageant industry until they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s. And so you're right that there is a big difference in understanding, well, what's a platform? What is this legacy project thing that we're even talking about?
Mhm.
And to understand that there's a difference
Mhm.
and when to use which. So let me first kind of start by saying legacy project, there's not really anything magical about that. I made it up. I literally made it up a few years ago to describe the the strategy that I was employing that
Mhm.
was working to win pageants.
Okay.
And I was like, I need a way to like say what it is so that people, my clients will know what I'm talking about here.
Mhm.
And so the term itself is one I created that has now taken off in the industry. People understand it. They get the difference between the platform and legacy. So platform is similar to a political platform, or it's a charitable cause or an organization. A platform is originally created by the Miss America organization years ago when they said, hey, what if we had our pageant title holders kind of connect themselves to an organization that throughout their reign they would be able to promote. And the original design was as to use that platform as a vehicle to get access to more audiences. Marketing, it was brilliant.
Mhm.
It's what politicians do. They
Mhm.
run on a certain platform, and then it gives them access to the people who are also stakeholders in those platforms. So when social media blew up, I was in college when Facebook first came out. So I had a college Facebook account in the early 2000s, I guess.
Okay.
And it was shortly after that that the internet influencer concept came about. And that was when I was competing in the Miss California pageant. And that's when I was like, this something for me, something wasn't working about just having a platform. Like I was always connecting myself to an organization, and that was okay, but it was like I wasn't winning. I was first runner up. I was first runner up 3 times before I finally won my state title, and I couldn't figure it out until I came across this strategy that I now teach my clients, which is this legacy project concept. And the legacy project is sort of like, remember when you would play dominoes as a kid? You'd line up all the dominoes, and
Mhm.
then the one on the end, you would tap it. And it didn't take a lot of force. You just needed a simple, like, and then all of the other ones fell into place. This is what the legacy project is. When you do the work right to have a legacy project, it kind of checks the box of branding your personal brand. It checks the box of what should I post on the internet for social media promotion. It checks the box of what types of appearances should I really be doing. It checks the box of sponsors. It checks the box for platform, paperwork, and interview. It checks the box for on stage answer. When you have a legacy project in place using the strategy that I built to help women do it, it is the big domino that makes everything else so much easier. So that's a little bit of the difference. A legacy carries on throughout your life, whereas a platform is often something that tends to change. It's
Mhm.
it's kind of like, Patricia, it's kind of like how they say that a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square. A legacy project is a platform, but a platform is not a legacy project.
Okay.
So this is why the clients that I work with who have a legacy project are able to use it as their pageant platform. Does that help kind of understand a little of the
Yes.
differences for you
Yes.
and your viewers?
Yes. Now, I have taken your Jumpstart program before 2 years ago, and it was great because I was able to go because I had COVID and I was like sick in bed, and just being able to spend time and actually do that. And I remember going through what you were saying, and I just read it recently in your book. You know, like how some people are like, I'm going to be a spokesperson for the Heart Association. But, you know,
Yeah,
you're
but what? It's like,
but what?
yes,
Now, for the viewers who don't understand, when you say, I'm going to represent the American Heart Association, you know, what is it you're representing? You're not really hand in hand with them. And in your book, you said you make it personal.
yes,
And you shine, instead of shining the darkness, you shine the light. For example, 1 in 4 women will face some form of domestic abuse in their lifetime. I am a survivor of domestic abuse. And so now I've got this platform I want to create that I know I can launch into a legacy project that will go on after my reign.
Yeah.
My question is, and just to give a brief idea, how do you start from like a basic idea? And when should you start that to when you can make it work, and that you start to make it into fruition and then launch it to the legacy project? If that makes a
that's
little
good.
bit of sense.
Yeah. So we always start with branding, and branding is, sometimes people think branding is your colors and, you know, a butterfly that you always wear on your lapel or something, you know, and it's like, that's not your brand. Your brand is I like to say it's that your calling, your purpose and your mission, your future is a product of how you manage your current and how you view your past. And so the way that you're currently managing your life and the perspective that you have of your past is going to shape what happens in your future. And God has called us all to, every single person on the face of the planet has a purpose and a reason that we are here. And all of us it has something to do with helping other people. We all know that's where it starts. So we all know we all have a purpose that has something along the lines of helping someone else do something. Usually what I've found, particularly for the women that I work with, and this is why I work with women who are in their 40s and 50s and 60s and beyond, because they've experienced life like you have. You have a past that is always bruised. We all have scars from our past. And once you've lived enough decades, you start to realize that my future is going to be shaped by how I view my past experiences.
Right.
And so we look at all of that. And there's often in my work, what I found is that there's a thread that ties them together. It's often a belief that you had then that you're shaping now that's carrying into the future. That ends up being your legacy. It's the thing you're already doing, Patricia. It's like the stuff that people are already like, oh my gosh, we love her for that. Or it's like the thing that comes to their mind. And then they're like, oh, Patricia, she's the one that should be doing that. That's the legacy. And so when we first identify what's the legacy you want to leave, that comes from branding. We started as a project, and it's like, okay, you've got a legacy. You're going to do many projects. You know, you're going to do a book, you're going to have a show, podcast, you're going to do all the things, because when you have a message that helps others, it's your responsibility to influence, to get it in the hands of the people that need it. And we do that through all of these methodologies that I teach in my course. And so that once we find that thread, and, you know, this is why as a coach, I always will have coaches. The best coaches have coaches. And it's really because when you are in a situation, I like to say you're in the jar, like a pickle inside of a jar, and you can't read the label of the ingredients that you are made of. You need to find somebody that you know, trust, and who loves you to read that label. And so many times in our lives, we have given trust to somebody that has labeled us inappropriately. They've labeled us wrong. They labeled us something that's different than what God is actually calling us to. And
Yes.
sometimes we agree with them because we don't know. You can't read your own label. So someone tells you a certain thing about you and you're like, am I? I guess so. I didn't know. And then now you start believing this negative thing because you entrusted the wrong person. You've got to entrust the right person to read the label, to call out of you all of the special things that you are, that God's calling you to in the next phase of life.
Yes, see, and that kind of like what you did last week with those couple questions that you had. I've already reached out to my pastor, who happens to be my best friend's husband. My best friend and I are going to get together. So we're working on this platform that I hope that, again, to launch a legacy project. And I love one of the things you said, and I may have said it, is that to be the light. So don't dwell on the negative of what happened, is to create the light of it.
Yeah, people want solutions. Everybody knows problems exist. People don't want the problem. They know it exists. You know, so often pageant girls are like, I want to raise awareness about such and such a problem. We all know that's a problem. What's the solution?
Exactly.
That's what we need to get behind. If we can train people, those around us, on solutions, when we show up solutions oriented, that's true value. That's what people really want. So just simply by saying, I'm going to, you know, be a domestic violence awareness advocate. Well, why are we shining the light on what's wrong? Instead, let's help people escape from that, or let's stop people from doing it. Let's find the light. Yes, Patricia, 100%.
Well, I know we have to wrap up really quickly. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this too is that you're hosting a special Jumpstart event, and it'll help the women going into 2023. So would you like to share with our viewers what it is?
I'd love to. Thank you, Patricia. Yeah. So as you mentioned earlier, the Pageant Jumpstart is a program that started in 2020 when everyone was in quarantine. I gathered a group of professionals from the industry, and we've repeated this model now many, many times. We've heard from those that have joined over and over and over, like you, Patricia, have heard from lots of different pageant professionals. So our upcoming Pageant Jumpstart is free to the industry. Anybody is welcome to join at pageantjumpstart.com. It is a week long of free pageant coaching where we bring on guests, and then we reflect and explain how, you know, one of the skills I believe God's given me is to break down complicated things into step by step. This is what I do for all of my clients. We say, okay, this is the big picture where we're headed. Where are we going to start with? And we break it into step by step. And so one of the things that I'll be sharing is how to actually do the steps for the legacy project, and how do you actually do that to make it the big domino in order to knock down all of those other things. So I'll be sharing that as a part of the Jumpstart. And then we talk about makeup and confidence, and definitely interview, paperwork, on stage question. Those are my specialties. So marketing, all those things we're definitely going to be talking about. So pageantjumpstart.com. Again, it's free to register, and we do leave, if you're unable to join live, we leave all the replays up until the end of the week, but then it all gets pulled. So you got to be ready. You got to be ready to go all in and to have some fun with us. So thank you, Patricia, for giving me the chance to talk about it.
Oh, and when are the dates again that it's going to happen?
September 18th is when we kick off, and we'll probably have another one at the end of the year. So as soon as you join, you get to have access to any future ones that we do for free as well.
That's great. And I just wanted to take this moment to thank you so much for doing this and coming on Crown Different. And I will attest to anybody, I've taken your Jumpstart before, and I've had such amazing experience with it. So thank you so much, Alycia, for taking your time and being the light in the world of pageantry.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for having me. I appreciate it.